In 2020, the United States government made a decision that would have been impossible for most of human history. In just 2 years, they pumped over $6 trillion into the economy, printing 40% of all dollars that have ever existed, completely out of thin air. We are taught to accept this as normal. The mainstream narrative insists that our paper money is a highly stable, advanced system, and that physical gold is a primitive relic of the past. But while governments print endless paper, a strange anomaly is playing out in vaults around the world. The central banks of China, Russia, and India, the very institutions that print currency, are quietly hoarding massive, record-breaking tonnages of physical gold. Even the United States, the main architect of the modern paper dollar, holds over 8,000 tons of the metal locked away inside the fortified United States Bullion Depository at Fort Knox. They refuse to sell it. If paper money is truly superior, why do the world's top financial architects continually stockpile a shiny rock? To figure out what they know that we don't, we have to look at the track record of money itself. For anything to work as money, it requires one strict rule: absolute scarcity. Because alchemy completely failed to turn boiling lead into gold, kings couldn't just create wealth in a lab. They had to spend years digging it out of the ground. Ancient empires relied on this unbreakable rarity. The Egyptians believed the metal was the flesh of the sun god, reserving it for their most sacred artifacts and placing it directly on their dead pharaohs, like this solid gold funerary mask of King Tutankhamun. Around 600 BC, the Kingdom of Lydia solved a major bottleneck in trade. Instead of forcing merchants to weigh random chunks of metal, they invented standardized gold coins, using a royal stamp to guarantee the exact weight and purity. The Roman Empire scaled this system across the ancient world. Conquering territories under leaders like Julius Caesar required mountains of gold to pay their massive armies. But the empire ran into a strict mathematical limit. When they stopped conquering new gold mines, they simply didn't have enough pure gold coins to pay the soldiers, so they cheated. Emperors began shrinking the coins and secretly mixing the pure gold with cheaper copper. This is called debasement. It allowed the government to artificially inflate their money supply, turning pure gold into the heavily tarnished mixed metal pieces you see in the bottom row. The pattern was set. Whenever a government runs out of funds, they inevitably choose to cheat their own monetary system rather than face financial ruin. By the 19th century, the world tried to fix this cheating with the gold standard. Under this system, paper money was strictly a claim ticket. If you held a dollar bill, it was tethered to a physical piece of gold, and you could take it to a bank to swap it for the actual metal. Then World War I broke out. The staggering cost of deploying massive lines of soldiers and weapons quickly drained national treasuries. To fund the fight, governments simply suspended the standard, printing money without the gold to back it up. The financial strain of the Great Depression triggered even more drastic measures. Because the gold standard restricted him from printing relief funds, President Franklin D. Roosevelt made it illegal for American citizens to own gold in 1933, forcing the public onto paper. In 1944, global leaders met to rebuild the broken financial system. The delegates seated at the Bretton Woods conference agreed to make the US dollar the world's currency, explicitly because America promised to back those dollars with its massive gold reserves at $35 an ounce. The world accepted the system on trust. But America quietly broke the rule, printing far more paper dollars to fund its spending than it had actual gold sitting in the vault. This chart shows what happened next. Foreign nations realized the math didn't add up and began aggressively demanding their physical gold back, severely draining America's reserves. Facing an empty vault, President Richard Nixon went on television in 1971 and closed the gold window. He permanently refused to trade gold for dollars. The promise was gone. For the first time in 5,000 years, the global economy was completely severed from physical reality. We are now living in the Fiat experiment. It is a system where money has value solely because the government says it does, backed by nothing but faith. This chart illustrates the explosive consequence of that system. In 1971, the US money supply was $700 billion. Freed from gold, that line curves violently upward into the tens of trillions. The free market reacted. A second line tracking the price of gold climbs aggressively in direct tandem, surging thousands of %, which answers our opening mystery. Central bankers are quietly buying up massive amounts of gold today because they know fiat currency is an unproven experiment, and experiments carry a high risk of failure. They know the history. Rome fell, empires collapsed, Bretton Woods failed. Every time a society tries to replace physical scarcity with endless printing, the paper system eventually buckles under its own weight. Paper money requires total trust in the people printing it, but when that trust fractures, the physical reality of the metal remains. Gold is money, everything else is credit.